rising fast. Investors gonna last. Gonna build an empire, trust. Got that higher, got that grace. Time to phrase. PetPitch India, ideas take flight. PetPitch India, day and night. PetPitch India, future's looking bright.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are jumping into something pretty fascinating, definitely explosive in terms of growth. The Indian pet care market.
It really is, and it's changing so fast.
Right. It feels like we're watching this huge cultural shift in real time. I mean,
Yeah.
pets aren't just animals in the house anymore. They're family, spoiled family members a lot of the time.
That pet humanization trend, yeah. It's absolutely central to what's happening in India right now, and it's happening incredibly quickly.
So our mission today really is to cut through the noise. We've got all this research, and we want to synthesize it into something actionable for anyone looking at this space.
Exactly. We need a clear guide. What's the real market potential? What are the legal hoops you absolutely have to jump through, especially with licensing? And then what are the smart strategic moves to actually launch, say, a pet store or a service business?
And when we talk potential, we need to start with the big number. It kind of sets the stage. The forecast is, well, it's huge. The Indian pet care industry is projected to hit INR 2.1 trillion.
Yeah, that's over 25 billion US dollars by 2032.
Jaw-dropping, really.
And think about the growth rate. We're talking a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of 20%. That's massive.
20%. It's outpacing so many other sectors. It signals this isn't just a trend, it's a fundamental economic shift.
Absolutely, fueled by deep cultural changes.
Okay, so let's unpack that 20%. What's really pushing this incredible growth? What are the forces at play?
Well, it looks like a convergence of maybe three big things. First, you've got rapid urbanization. More people in cities means more concentrated spending power.
Makes sense. Denser markets.
Second, rising disposable incomes. People just have more money to spend beyond the basics, and pets are benefiting from that. But honestly, the biggest driver, it seems to be sociological.
How so?
The rise of nuclear families, more double-income households. Pets are filling a real emotional need. They offer companionship, stress relief, sometimes feeling that empty nest or being the sibling in a single-child family.
That emotional connection, that's the key to why people are spending more and on more specialized things. Which brings us to the market segments. Let's break it down. Pet food is the giant, right?
It absolutely dominates. Right now, it's pegged at around 4,000 crore rupees. What's that? About 466 million US dollars.
Yeah, roughly.
And it's expected to more than double, maybe hit 10,000 crore rupees by 2028. But the crucial point here isn't just volume, it's what people are buying.
Not just generic kibble anymore.
No way! It's specialized nutrition. We're seeing huge demand for things like therapeutic diets for specific health issues, grain-free options, formulas specific to breeds. People are moving away from table scraps or basic homemade food.
Because they believe, rightly or wrongly, that specialized food means a healthier, longer life for their pet.
Exactly. There's a growing awareness, driven by vets and, frankly, by marketing, that quality nutrition matters. Plus, convenience is a huge factor.
This sophistication, it feels like it happened fast, which probably explains why pet healthcare is the segment growing the fastest.
Precisely. Healthcare is already over 700 crore rupees and climbing sharply. It's driven by this new focus on preventive care. Regular vaccinations, dental checks, deworming, things that maybe a generation ago were often overlooked.
And technology's playing a role.
Oh, definitely. Things like telemedicine, vet-at-home services are booming, especially in cities. It makes it easier, more convenient for pet owners to access care.
Okay, what about the services side? Grooming, boarding, training. This seems like where that humanization really translates into spending.
For sure. That whole segment is estimated around 600 crore rupees. Look at training demand has apparently tripled in just the last 5 years.
Wow, triple.
Yeah, driven largely by all these first-time pet owners who realize they need help, with socialization and basic commands. And boarding. It's not just kennels anymore.
Right, I've heard about these luxury places.
Exactly. Air-conditioned suites, webcams so owners can check in, custom diets. People want peace of mind when they travel, and they're willing to pay for it.
The webcam is genius, purely playing on that emotional connection. Okay, last piece, accessories.
Around 500 crore rupees.
Yeah, and it's moved way beyond just leashes and bowls. The real innovation is in smart tech. GPS collars, feeders that dispense food automatically, even bowls that track how much the pet is eating or drinking.
Smart bowls.
And then there's the fashion angle. Designer pet apparel, lifestyle brands. The pet as a status symbol is definitely a thing.
All right, so the market's booming, diverse. But let's get practical. Financial reality check time. What does it actually cost to get started, say, with a basic pet store? And what's the profit outlook?
The good news is the entry barrier isn't impossibly high capital-wise. For a physical store, you're probably looking at somewhere between, say, 3 lakh and 10 lakh rupees initially. Depends hugely on your location, the size, how much inventory you want to carry up front.
So maybe $4,000 to $12,000 US, roughly. Manageable for many.
Relatively, yes.
Yeah.
And profitability, if you run it efficiently, it can be pretty solid. Margins on the high turnover stuff, like food and accessories, generally fall between 20 and 40%. Okay, decent margins. But none of that matters if you stumble on the legal side. This feels critical, especially for newcomers.
It's absolutely critical. You cannot treat this like opening, say, a simple clothing boutique. It's a regulated industry. The single most important piece of paper you need is this certificate of registration.
Okay, certificate of registration. From where?
From your state's Animal Welfare Board. This is mandated under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, Pet Shop, rules from 2018. It's non-negotiable.
And what does getting that certificate involve? What are the strings attached?
Well, it's valid for 5 years and you can't transfer it. The big thing is you're subject to routine inspections by licensed veterinarians. They check on housing conditions, hygiene, general animal welfare.
And they take it seriously.
Very seriously. Non-compliance isn't just a fine. They can actually seal your shop, shut you down. Plus, you have to keep meticulous records every animal, every sale or transfer of a live animal.
Okay, meticulous records, vet checks. Now, here's something you highlighted that seems like a potential minefield. The difference in licensing if you sell food versus only non-food items.
This is probably the most critical distinction for your planning. You have to ask up front, am I selling pet food? Anything edible for pets?
Even just dog biscuits.
Even biscuits. If the answer is yes, then you fall under food regulations. That means an FSSAI license. Food Safety and Standards Authority of India is mandatory. You cannot legally sell pet food without it, period.
Right, FSAI. But aren't there different types, basic, state, central? How does a small startup figure that out?
Okay, let's simplify. Think about your projected turnover from pet food sales. If you expect it to be under 12 lakh rupees per year.
About 14,000, 15,000 US.
Right. If you're under that threshold, you generally just need the basic FSSAI registration. That's the entry point. If you project sales above that, or if you get into manufacturing or large-scale distribution, then you need to look at the state or central FSSAI licenses, which are more involved.
That's a really clear threshold.
Yeah.
So a strategic choice early on could be to only sell non-food items, accessories, toys, maybe offer grooming, and bypass the FSSAI hassle entirely, at least initially.
Exactly. That simplifies things considerably on the food safety front. But remember, you still need the standard retail licenses.
Oh, okay. Like what?
The Shop and Establishment Act license, a trade license from your local municipality, GST registration, of course, and maybe professional tax registration, depending on the state and your setup.
So that initial decision, food or no food, really shapes your entire compliance journey. Okay, legal foundation sorted. Let's move to operations and strategy. How do you succeed once you're legally set up? Inventory seems key.
It is. And the watchword here is trust. Pet owners need to trust the quality and safety of what you sell. If you're dealing with live animals, that means working only with authorized, reputable breeders who provide health certifications. No shortcuts.
And for products, food, medicine, accessories.
Reliable suppliers are crucial. But just as important is managing that inventory smartly. You need a system. Something for real-time tracking, ideally automated alerts when you're running low on popular items.
And expiration dates.
Critically important, yes. Especially for food and any medications or supplements. One mistake there selling expired food and your reputation is toast. Instantly.
So good sourcing, tight inventory control, but the experience often comes down to the people, right? The staff.
Oh, absolutely. You can have the best products, but if your staff aren't knowledgeable or don't seem to genuinely care about animals, customers will walk. You need to hire for empathy, for a real concern for animal welfare.
And train them well.
Thoroughly, not just on what products do what, but on safety protocols, basic animal handling, and importantly, how to spot potential signs of illness or distress in pets that come into the store. They need to be advisors, not just cashiers. Pet owners value that guidance.
Okay. Got the right products, got the right people. How does a new business stand out, especially in a crowded city? You mentioned hyperlocal strategy. What does that look like?
It means becoming part of the local pet owner community, not just a place to buy things. Think about hosting events, maybe small pet contests, adoption drives with local shelters, grooming demos.
Building those local ties.
Exactly. And collaborating. Build relationships with local vets, trainers, groomers, shelters. Set up formal referral programs. Become the go-to resource hub for pet owners in your neighborhood.
And how does digital fit into that hyperlocal approach?
It's essential. First, dominate local search. Optimize your Google business profile so when someone searches pet store near me, you pop up. Use social media like Instagram or Facebook, not just for promotions, but for sharing useful pet care tips relevant to the local area.
Provide value online.
Right. And think about convenience. Urban pet parents are busy. Can you use WhatsApp for easy reorders? Maybe a simple app for loyalty points or appointment booking for grooming? Integrate digital to make their lives easier.
Let's apply this. The research talks about Mumbai, huge population, nearly 21 million, high competition. What's the strategic play there for a new entrant? It sounds tough.
It is tough. Mumbai is a mega market. The analysis suggests that just being different might not be enough. Given the competition and costs, the recommendation leans towards a value-focused strategy. Think volume over margin.
Volume over margin. In a high-cost city like Mumbai, how does a startup achieve the necessary scale to make that work without getting crushed by bigger players who already have those efficiencies?
That's the challenge. You can't just compete on price for everything. The key is likely leveraging technology for hyper-efficient operations and focusing on service integration.
Okay, unpack that. Tech and service integration.
Yeah, maybe you can't beat the big guys on the shelf price of standard kibble, but you can win on convenience and tailored service. Think subscription models for food delivery, automated, reliable, instant reordering via WhatsApp. Combine that with a physical space optimized for quick pickups and high-value services like express grooming or vet consultations.
So use tech to make transactions seamless and build volume through convenience and service bundles, not just rock-bottom prices on everything.
Exactly. It's about squeezing efficiency out of every interaction, digitally and physically, to handle the volume needed to compensate for potentially thinner margins on some items.
That makes more sense, using tech as the lever for volume. Okay, let's shift gears a bit, away from pure business strategy and into understanding the nuances of the market itself. Segment 4 looks at regional differences. This isn't a uniform market across India, is it?
Not at all, and understanding these differences is crucial for targeting. The research showed pretty significant variations in dog ownership just by state. For example, households in Gujarat were found to be much less likely to own dogs compared to those in, say, Tamil Nadu or Uttarakhand.
And that holds true whether it's urban or rural.
Apparently so, based on the settlements surveyed. So your marketing budget, your inventory mix, it needs to reflect that local reality. You can't just assume national trends apply everywhere.
And the reason people own pets also varies. That must impact what they buy.
Hugely. Across most areas surveyed, companionship was the #1 reason cited for owning a dog. But then you look at places like Mussoorie or Nainital Hill stations, very tourism-focused economies.
Right.
There, protection was the most common reason given for dog ownership, and that changes behavior.
How so?
Well, if your dog is primarily for protection, how you manage it might be different. In Nainital, for instance, over half the owned dogs were apparently allowed to roam free at night. Compare that to regions where companionship is key, and dogs are typically kept inside or securely confined.
And that directly impacts the products and services needed. Protection-focused owners might need heavy-duty leads, specific training resources.
Right.
Companionship owners might be buying designer sweaters and gourmet treats.
Precisely. It dictates your stocking strategy. Now, tied into this, there's a really important public health finding in the data that challenges a common assumption.
Which is?
The assumption that stray dogs are the only source of problems like dog bites. The data suggests otherwise quite strongly.
Okay. Tell us more. What did the research find about owned dogs?
It found that owned dogs are a significant part of the dog bite problem. In sample studies from places like Kodaikanal and Coimbatore, bites from dogs owned by the victim's household or their neighbors accounted for a really substantial percentage, like 30% in one and over 40% in the other.
Wow, 30 to 40% of bites from owned or neighbors' dogs. That's
Ew.
much higher than I would have guessed.
It is. And it means that any responsible pet business needs to think about promoting responsible ownership for all dogs, not just focusing on the stray population issue. It's a community responsibility.
That definitely reframes things. What else did the data reveal about owner practices? Anything surprising on preventative care?
Yes, a really interesting split between vaccination and sterilization. Awareness about rabies seems quite high. Vaccination rates for owned dogs were often above 65%, which are pretty good.
Okay, that's positive.
But sterilization rates for those same owned dogs were consistently low, really low. The average was only around 22.5%.
Only 22% sterilized. Why the huge gap? People understand vaccines are important, but not sterilization.
It seems to point towards a knowledge gap, or maybe an access issue. Owners often reported thinking sterilization was unnecessary for their pet. So there's clearly a need for better education and perhaps more accessible, affordable spay-neuter services.
So despite these challenges, the regional variations, the public health issues, the knowledge gaps, the underlying trend remains incredibly strong, right?
Right.
Growth is still the main story, driven by new owners.
Absolutely, undeniably. The data from rapidly growing cities like Ahmedabad and Vadodara showed this huge recent surge in pet ownership, and something like 75% of those owners identified as first-time pet parents.
75% first-timers.
Yeah, which means the market is still maturing. These new owners need guidance, they need services, they need education just as much as they need products. Businesses that can provide that whole package are the ones likely to thrive.
Okay, so pulling it all together from these sources, success in this booming Indian pet care market seems to require this blend. You absolutely need the legal side nailed down, especially understanding that FSSAI rule about food.
Mandatory.
Then, sharp operational control managing inventory, using tech smartly, and, maybe most importantly, embedding yourself in the local community, building trust through genuine expertise and hyperlocal engagement.
That trust factor is everything, and earning it means acknowledging the realities we just discussed, like the owned dog bite statistics and that surprising gap between vaccination and sterilization rates.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener, especially if you're considering entering this market. We've seen the data. Owned dogs contribute significantly to bites, yet sterilization rates are low, even when vaccination rates are high.
So the question is, what could you do? The kind of innovative, maybe low-cost, community-focused service could a new pet business offer? Something that tackles both the issue of irresponsible breeding and these public health concerns head-on.
How could you move beyond just retail and position your business as a genuine leader in animal welfare and responsible ownership? That's something to really think about.
Thank you for listening into Weekly PetPitch Podcast every Thursday at 12 noon. Hope you had a wonderful time. Cheers and stay safe.